Okay, since I'm on a roll today, I am going to go in a different direction now. I want to talk about properties for rent and what they look like. Now, I realize that when you rent a property, you don't want the best of everything in the property. However, you don't want the worst of everything in the property either, because nobody's going to pick the property if it looks that bad. So there is a line somewhere between making it look really nice and having things in it that might get ruined, and you don't, you have to like be able to play that where you can put some things in there in case they do get ruined, that you're okay with it. However, I have seen properties that need help. And I'm going to give you several examples. So on this trip that I've been talking about, I was in Florida. I was in all along the peninsula of the Emerald Coast. Okay. So it starts at Fort Walton and it goes Destin and it goes all the beaches and it goes all the way to Pensacola. So, and the Panhandle. Okay, so it's a span. It's a very large area, and it ranges in the property values. Okay, and as you go towards Panama City, it gets like very elite. Almost, it looks like Maine, and it looked like almost like the Hamptons in a way. It was just really very craftfully designed. Remember, both sides of the highway there, you have water, so everything is very expensive, and but it was just exquisite, to say the least, of how the shops were built along there. And it was so crowded, and it was off season, you couldn't even get in. But okay, so going back to the design of these of properties. So I've stayed in like different places. And one thing that caught my attention is that it doesn't matter the cost of the place, because if you have a place that you're renting and say it's not $1 million unit, you can still have your place like look really nice, right? And it needs to be clean. That's, of course, a given. That's like not something new, I'm telling you. But the place that we stayed in was like literally, she put some money into it. Whoever's the owner, put probably some money into it just recently. But literally, it looked like you just came out of like a store-bought type of place. Meaning it was just thrown together with like new stuff, and it just like, it was just kind of peculiar. But anyways, that's for somebody who just, just doesn't have the time to do whatever they're doing. So it was okay. It was clean and nice. So then there's the spectrum of going into like, say, a more expensive place to rent. And the more expensive place was really bad, I have to tell you. It was more expensive because it was closer to the beach and it was bigger, but it was like dirty. And it was not maintained. Like nothing worked. And you don't know these things until you get there, right? Because like they all tout that everything works great, and it's the way it is, right? Because you go in, and so anyway, I've also seen places in Brenham and in Round Top, because there's a lot for rent there. And I've seen places that don't look good. I'm going to be honest. I don't know whose places they are. Doesn't matter whose places they are. It's not why I'm talking about this. But in order to rent a place, you really have to like draw in the customer. You have to draw in the customer. So people all tend to think in some way like they are a designer. Like everybody's a designer. I've been into homes in different neighborhoods where homeowners say, oh, just come and look at the work I've done. Look at I redesigned this house. And I'll go in and think to myself, this does not look good. This looks like you just dated this whole renovation that you just did. You just dated it like 25 years. So there's ways of doing things that we are trained to do in design. And I have some training. I didn't go through the whole training, but I have enough training where I know what to look for. And things do grab the eye. And I know how to do that also through my meditation and my inspiration and my awareness and using nature and consciousness as the means, which is what I talk about in Design Through Inspiration. That's another class. But when you are doing a rental home, sometimes you need help. And it's not going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars if you don't want. You could hire me. This is not a sales pitch, but I would go in for a flat fee and get your place like looking good. And I would tell you these things have to go. And you need to replace these items. I will help you find what you need to get the look updated and get the look spectacular so that you're drawing somebody in there. But that is an art. That is not something that you necessarily learn on your own. And when you're the home owner, the property owner, you sometimes are biased and cannot see outside of how it looks. So when you're renting, and the whole idea of renting anywhere you are, you need to get somebody in there, because when you have it occupied, you're making money. This comes back down to business, people. This is all about a business situation. So maybe you need a real estate person. Maybe you need somebody like me who's a design person. For me, the real estate and the design, I go hand in hand with the two, because not only do I know the values, but I also know how to get people in. I know what attracts people. I see places sitting on the market all the time. I see places in Round Top all the time sitting. I don't know if they're rented. I know they're rented during busy times, but you want to keep that place like hopping, and you might need some help, and you'll get return people too. So anyway, this is not about the etiquette. This is more of business, real estate, design concepts. Michele Morano.